Happy New Year! I would want to wish you straight off the bat a fantastic 2020. I know that this year is going to be amazing for makers all around the world, and I want to welcome you back to a whole brand new year of Makers Monday. This week, I'm going to introduce you to Derek Lark, who happens to be the husband of Julie Lark, who is a Makers Monday alumnus who was on just a few months back. Derek lives in New South Wales, and you might have heard right now that Australia is on fire. In fact, New South Wales has been badly hit by the bushfires that have been going on now for 2 months. Before we speak to Derek, I want to talk a little bit about the Australian bushfires that have been affecting everyone here. You might have heard on the news that Australia is on fire, and in fact this fire has been consuming a lot of the coast and bushland all around Sydney, Queensland and Victoria. Now, in the last 4 years of creating content for YouTube, I have never asked for anyone to help financially, either through Patreon or donations. But I feel this is a really important thing that's going on right now. And I can tell you firsthand from traveling up to Canberra and seeing the devastation that is going on in New South Wales, this is an incredible crisis. People are literally losing everything they have, and in some cases, their lives. Now, I really want to do something about this. So the first piece of action that I actually took was to volunteer for the Community Fire Authority, which are the volunteers that go out and train for emergencies like this. If you've seen any of the footage, either online or on your local news channels, you'll see firemen working desperately to hold back fires from dwellings and from community areas. These people are all volunteers. In fact, after traveling, I was so inspired by what I saw, I actually went and volunteered my time and my services to this amazing group. Now, I know they're not going to send me off in the next couple of weeks because I've got to be trained up, but God forbid anything like this ever happens again, I want to be able to be in the position to do more than just watch what these people do. In fact, I really want to help out. And that's what I'm asking you guys to do right now. I'm not asking you to volunteer your time, but if you're inspired by what you've heard, or you've really enjoyed what I've been able to present in the last 4 years, whether it's Makers Monday or some of the other videos, I'd really like it if you were able to take a little bit of your goodwill and donate to some of the charities out there to help. People have lost their homes and their communities, completely wiped out by these bushfires. Now, I don't want to get into global warming or politics. This is not what this is about. This is about people in need. Down below in the description, I have a number of charities that are working with people and wildlife that have been affected by this disaster. As I said before, this is not about what's going on in the world, but actually dealing with what's going on right now. And this crisis has been going on for months. In fact, we're not too sure when it's going to finish. So if you could help out that way, it would mean a lot to those who have lost everything. And that's not something you're going to take lightly. In fact, when I left to go over to the US to hang out at NASA, that was December and those fires were going on for 1 month already. When I returned, I thought there were fires in Victoria, and when the plane was actually coming through, there was a smoke haze. I asked the guy next to me, is there fires in Victoria? And he answered no, they were actually the smoke coming from New South Wales, hundreds of kilometers away. So that shows you back then, which was around Christmas time, what was actually going on and how it was affecting a lot of people. I hope that this crisis is able to be contained really quickly, and I know that I would love to be in a position to be able to help should this ever happen again. May this crisis pass soon, and may everyone get on with their lives in a safe way. Derek Lark actually lives in one of these areas in New South Wales, and he actually identifies himself as a maker. Derek comes from a lineage of makers and has incredible skills attached with that, which he applies to the things that he loves to make. So it's my great honour to introduce you to Derek Lark.
I'm Derek Lark from Canberra, Australia. Thanks for having me on Makers Monday. I describe myself as a maker. My great-grandfather was a blacksmith, my grandfather was a carpenter, and my dad was an avid ham radio guy. So I've been using tools since I was able to pick them up.
Sounds like you've got a whole lineage of makers behind you, Derek, and I love to hear about how fathers teach their sons those sort of maker skills that they're able to put into play. It sounds like you've got a lot of different skills, but what was the last thing that you made?
The last thing I made was a tail vise to use on my workbench. It's really handy for holding small pieces of timber when you want to plane them or cut them, and I made that on the 3D printer.
What I love about this last project is how you intermix different skills to be able to create what you needed. You know, I see a lot of people using 3D printers only in the realm of 3D printers, or woodworking only in the realm of woodworking, but you combine both of those, and I think that's amazing work. In fact, you use the strengths of one medium to actually combine with another, and that's incredibly fantastic. 3D printing is a very powerful tool, and woodworking is another great workflow to be able to get things created. But I was wondering, in your workshop, what is your favorite tool?
My favorite tool? Well, that'd have to be my block plane. I use it for most of the projects I'm working on around the workshop at the moment. I'm mainly working in wood. I have a 3D printer. I also do electronics, and I've made my own guitars.
Amazing. A block plane is a real simple tool, but it comes in so handy, and it's one of those things that you kind of don't think about when you're actually working in a workshop. I know that I love my planes, and I've just really discovered them in the last couple of years. I see you have a mix of great skills that would totally complement you making your electric guitars. I'm just wondering, what was your favorite project?
My favorite project that I've made would have to be my lap steel guitar. I based it around the early 50s lap steels that came out of America, and to my mind it sounds as good as any of the other guitars I've had the fortune to play over the years.
That guitar looks like a total labor of love, and I can see how you refined your skills to actually get that result. It's pretty amazing, and it's great to see that you're actually applying those skills into other areas that you love. I'm just curious, do you have another skill that you'd like to learn?
The skill I most want to learn is how to use a CNC machine. I've got one coming, and I've got some projects ready to go as soon as I've got it up and running. Oh, and by the way, you can also find me on YouTube, where I have some quick tip videos, very short, that you might find helpful. Thanks for having me, and I hope to catch you all again soon.
Derek, I really want to thank you for sharing your story on Makers Monday, and I also want to wish you and your family safety during this trying time. I hope that everything passes really quickly, and I hope that I have a chance to meet you in person, both you and Julie, and make something incredible together. It's just so exciting to be able to see what you guys have done. And I always feel that when I'm working with other makers, I'm always learning and putting another skill to my bow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Makers Monday. As I've said many times before, I really believe everyone has the ability to find an audience for what they create. I think it's really important that we share what is so passionate to us personally, and I would love to be able to help you get your message out to a larger audience. In fact, Makers Monday is all based around being able to share your story. So if you would like to come and join us and share your story with a wider audience, I would love to hear from you. And while I have you here, I'd love to invite you to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you don't miss any other stories like this one today. That's it from us here at Makers Monday this week. I'd like again to just iterate that if you'd like to help some of the families and some of the wildlife who are struggling right now, through this crisis in Australia, please feel free to explore the links below and give whatever you feel comfortable about. I'm glad to be back in Australia. I've got a lot to share with you about my time in the US and spending at NASA, but I'm going to save that for another time. Wishing you all a happy new year, and I hope your holidays are much better than ours right now here. And I will see you guys in 7 days. Take care.